Okay, well, seems like I'm gonna have to fix my mouse again. Hello, everybody. My clicker's not working properly this morning. It is malfunctioning. Yes. So, in other news, hope you're having a great start to the week. It is currently Monday. Here, somewhere on planet Earth. Yes. uh, Coffee, the best thing ever. Without it, we would be so lost. And nothing much would be done, I'm guessing. How do you feel about coffee? Is it a lifesaver? Is it something, something, and something else? Okay, my big question of the day. Obviously, to all of my subscribers and people watching me channel, uh, my initials are JP, and friends have always been calling me Jeeps. Except that the spelling here is misleading because people think that my channel is about 4x4s, Jeeps, which it is not. So I was thinking maybe I should respell my name and change the second E for an A. So basically, it would be like a pea. You know, those green little things that people don't like to eat, peas. So it is, even though there's an A, it's still pronounced E, P. So I was wondering if I should not change my name to spell it with an A. So it would still be pronounced Jeeps, but it would not be as misleading as it is. Well, it's kind of weird because people have always written it with two E's. And I know they're talking about me, but for people that don't know me, don't know the channel, think that this is a 4x4 channel, it is very misleading, and I understand that. That's why I am putting it to you today. How should I spell it? How should I brand my channel, etc., etc. So the ball is in your court. I would have to redo a bunch of things this afternoon. And we'll see how that goes. Actually, if I go to YouTube and customize, you can change your name twice in 14 days. So I cannot change it every... Changes can only mean... Okay. So within a 14-day period, I can only change... I can't change it every day. That's a good thing. But I can change it. So... I might be doing that. I definitely might be doing that. Okay. Just to, oops, one you mentioned. Okay, that's a good thing. That's done. At any moment now, I'm gonna have to get up and take care of a kitty cat that may or may not want to go outside. He did not want to go outside. He turned away when the other cat went out. But now he's claws in the screen and yeah, wants to go out. So now it's either they let me do my thing or not. Whoa. Okay. So, how is everybody doing today? Well, my big title is not attracting anybody. So, Canada was thinking about banning WD-40 and duct tape and all of these things because it's wasteful, it's not environmentally friendly, and in the noble effort of trying to save the planet that is going to still exist long after mankind is gone, strangely enough, people still want to save the planet instead of saving ourselves. How do we save ourselves? Well, that is easy. That is by enforcing pronoun and people to use pronouns. It's the only way that we're going to save ourselves because if we don't know what we are, how are we expected to save who we are? Okay, well, I am guessing that the cat in front is in heat, and my cats are always, they go out back, but the cat in front is in heat, and cats are coming around. They're in the backyard, but now they hear the cat screaming in the front, and they want to transfer from the back to the front. Not gonna happen. I'm not gonna get up every 5 minutes. No, I know it's instinct that the cats need to go and check what's going on, but not something that's gonna happen. Okay, so what else can I talk about on this Monday morning? Well, I did watch last night the Winter. It's been 2 weeks since we last saw the Winter King because last week was the NFL, and for some reason they figured it would take away the viewers from the Winter King, so they did not show it. So, what did I think of this week's episode? Honestly, too many things were out of character. In the sense that, okay, the bad guy from the show, let's call him the antagonist, who I don't know if I'm going to give out a spoiler here, so you might want to cover your ears. Killed the baby king. Well, he thought he was killing the baby king. Because the king died, he had a son that's a baby, and he left 3 people in charge to rule while the baby would grow up. Well, one of them, the antagonist, decides to assassinate the baby king and take the power for himself. Unfortunately, they switched the baby, so he killed the wrong baby. Yeah, not a good thing necessarily, but nonetheless, that's where we are at. So now he gets caught by Arthur, and obviously that guy not only did he kill, but he raped the. Let's call her a witch, but she's like the guru. She is the priestess of Avalon. Oh, he was a really, really bad antagonist, not doing good things. And so Arthur is kind of, you know, letting the priestess kind of wanting to take her revenge, but at the last moment decides, no, we're going to spare his life. We're not going to let our feelings and our anger dictate our things. He decides to make him a prisoner, but the only room that can be locked is the king's chambers. So let's lock up the antagonist in the king's chamber. What? What? We give him the best room in the entire castle kingdom? And by the end of their show, he's like, okay, well, I want to make peace throughout the kingdom. So I'm going to free you, and you can go back to your daddy in whatever nation you're from and negotiate a peace treaty so that we can all rule as equals. And I am like, okay. Ooh. So obviously the priestess is mad at Arthur. And in the first episode, Arthur saves a boy that was also, almost dead because of this antagonist. And this antagonist is really close friends with the priestess, but also because Arthur saved his life, he doesn't want to. So she asks him, oh, go and kill, or go and get the key so I can kill this antagonist and traitor and whatnot. And he's got conflicted feelings. He doesn't want to betray Arthur, but he's also the best friend, so he's confused. So it was a lot about the feelings and really seeing how this antagonist did what he did. There is, I mean, have you ever dealt with a criminal that can only do criminal things? It's in his nature. He is a scorpion through and through, and there is no other alternative than having the scorpion sting you. But because of feelings, I was talking to a friend yesterday, and let's compare it, It's like, okay, let's say, hypothetically, that an asteroid is coming towards Earth. Do you think that you can reason with this asteroid by sharing your feelings and having the asteroid talk about its feelings and maybe convince the asteroid that, hitting the Earth might not be the right thing to do. So if you could like not hit the Earth, that would be much appreciated. It kind of felt that way yesterday watching this episode. It doesn't make any sense, right? So I do want to really like this show. And it's from the writers that did The Last Kingdom, which was a series I really liked. I'm just not sure Okay, one of the writers of the other show is doing this show, but it's not the same team. Therefore, I don't know. I want to like this show, but after watching last night's episode, especially after seeing The Wheels of Time this week, that was all about the feelings and more feelings. I'm tired of talking about our feelings shows. Like, this is fantasy. Let's, slay some dragons or something. Instead, we are portraying the worst of mankind, and then are talking and sharing our feelings with them. It makes no sense. So I have to give it a not one but two thumbs down on the episode of yesterday. I mean, there's great moments, great camera shots, great world building elements. It's just that when faced with these Arthur decisions, it makes no sense. Of course, the plot will dictate that either that protagonist will become like best buddies and create peace throughout the kingdom with Arthur. It might become one of his first kings of the round table, and they will all rule as equals. It makes no sense in real life, but okay, this is fantasy, so why not? We will show the journey of this evil person becoming a good person. But if you've ever had to deal with a criminal that did wrong to you, that goes through the court systems, and the court proves, that they're lenient and this guy can be released providing he takes his medication, does not take his medication, ends up hurting other people, going back to the judge releasing him on the doctor's, you know, dedication to having this guy take his medication, which he still does not do. And 6 years later, you receive a phone call that, yes, beware, this convict has escaped from detention. After hurting 11 people, this guy is still out and about. They cannot keep him behind bars. They don't want to keep him behind bars. And this individual just keeps, he put me in a coma. This is from a personal experience in my life. There are some people that are just bad to the bone. And having portrayed a rapist and a somebody who is willing to kill babies, with a passion, he did it, with a passion. There is no coming back for these people. And yet the show would have you believe that even, you know, the worst of mankind can be reasoned with and talked to and all of this stuff. And also, the world kind of wants you to believe that if somebody does something that you don't agree with, then he's a bad person and he needs to be put down just because you don't. So, there are real evil people that we are letting loose and trying to reason and whatnot and talk about our emotions. And then there's other people in the world that, oh, well, they don't think like you. They need to be put down. They're evil people. They're bad people. So there's conflicting messages here. I think basically mankind does not have any moral center grounds. I think all common sense is gone from mankind. Am I the only one to be thinking so? What do you think? Let me know in the comments down below whether or not you think that there is still hope for mankind. From my point of view, and again, I was talking with some friends yesterday, uh, I don't know if it's because of my age now or whatnot. Like, I feel like I have fewer years in front of me than I have in back of me. Not to say that the best years are yet to come and whatnot. I'm just saying that, uh, I have we have fewer years in front of us than we have in back of us. And I am looking at mankind, and we've been here for thousands of years, maybe eight, maybe 10 million, 1,000 years, maybe more. And I feel like we are going to be lucky if we still get another century of humans on Earth. For one, we stop procreating, so that diminishes our chances of survival as a species. And the other thing is, mankind seems to lose its ability to think for himself. Everybody's just so busy trying to pay their bills and not having time to spend raising their kids, and they've lost any reason. They're just following everybody else, trying to do what everybody else is doing, and not thinking for themselves. And they want to be dictated. And everybody's wondering, how does a dictator manage to manipulate the population? The population seems to be willing to give its will over to the dictator, basically because it's too complicated to think. I'm busy paying my bills, going to a job that I don't like, trying to make ends meet. Uh, Life is hard, it's complicated. It's just easier to let somebody else deal with all of these bigger issues. And since everybody voted apparently for these people, well, they must know what they're doing. And yet, interest rates and everything else and inflation and everything is out of control. And we are voting for polar opposites instead of somebody finding the middle ground. I understand that the middle ground is not always interesting. Compromises are not always interesting. It's easier to love somebody and to hate somebody than trying to find the middle ground. Having said that, there's some people that there is no middle ground. So, but we've lost all perspective. We've lost all ability to think for ourselves. And I've been on this world and I've seen so many things. Like when I grew up, it was the Cold War, and strangely enough, we're heading into another Third World War. Germany, people are not aware of this in America because America thinks that it's the center of the world and whatever is going on here is the most important thing on the planet. But Germany are getting ready to go to war within itself and with Russia and with Ukraine and everything else going on in Europe because there's a real energy crisis. And here we did not want to create pipelines to share the wealth of our petroleum sector, which makes it harder for Germany to come and grab oil from here, so they are slaves to Germany. So even though they are a NATO partner, they might actually either end up siding with Russia against Ukraine, or it's just going to explode into a full-blown war. And even a friend was telling me yesterday, there are some certain seats in colleges and in universities that are available. Let's say there's 100 seats, 100 seats in the school that are available for learning. There are 88 of those that are dedicated to pronouns and gender studies, and there are 12 of those that are reserved for nuclear energy studies. So obviously the educational system is kind of confused because we are in an energy crisis. Therefore, we need more energy more than we need pronouns and gender studies. I mean, since the beginning of time, there's male and females. With the arrival of video games where a guy like myself could play Lara Croft of Tomb Raider, I could play the role of a girl. Yay! Well, maybe I can do that in real life. Does that mean that I'm a girl? So there's this study going on that was born out of video games and playing a character to now identifying as that character, and make believe has become reality. And somehow that's more important than the energy crisis that we are going through. Hey, Grid. How's it going? First time chatter. Hope you are doing well on this Monday morning. I don't know if you've been listening to the conversation. Oh, thank you for the follow. Much appreciated. So I don't know if you've been following my discussion or you just arrived, but I am ranting and there are so many things that are very complicated issues in the world. And I mean, it's beyond my comprehension. I don't know what and where I'm going with all of this. I'm just giving food for thought, I guess. I started with something really simple and just everything's spun out of control because of a show that I watched. Oh, you just got here and you heard the last, yeah. Well, a friend from Germany was telling me how they are getting ready to go to war and telling me how the university, you know, split the seats for the studies, and out of the 100 seats in the universities, they dedicated 88 of those to gender study and 12 of those to nuclear power energy studies. And we are in an energy crisis, but our priorities seem to be pronouns. So I'm not saying that pronouns is not important, but, given that Germany was so dependent on Russia for oil, for energy, and that they closed down all of their nuclear power plants, Germany might have to, ally themselves with Russia to get the oil for the energy that they need, meaning that Germany will be going to war with Ukraine. Crazy stuff is happening in the world. And I mean, how are the pronouns gonna help save this situation? I come from Canada. We are the first country in the world to legalize same sex marriage. I mean, we do have an opening of spirit, but to prioritize that over everything else, I think that certain leaders have lost their common sense. That's just my opinion. It might not be everybody else's. I mean, it's a lot easier to either love somebody or hate somebody, but trying to find a middle ground to negotiate is and compromise. Nobody likes to compromise. Everybody, either have it their way or hate the person that's not letting them have it their way. So I'm not saying that something's not important, it's just not as important. Like, okay, you can have representation and you can have all these diversified actors, women, and people of whatever ethnicity that you want in the movies and in the television series. But seems like that's the priority instead of a story. Just find a story, just find good actors for those stories, and we will accept everything else. Like Alien was one of the best sci-fi movies of all time, although I consider it a horror movie. Sigourney Weaver was the hero of that, and I could identify with that movie. I mean, I have no problems having a woman as the lead in a show. Just give me a good story. So, yeah, you're kind of like on the same wavelength as, kind of, sort of priorities. And we've just put too much, we've invested too much. And now that the entertainment industry has gone down the tubes, and by entertainment, I mean movies and television series and the normal medias, now that those radicals are now going to the gaming industry, and you have, gender type 1, gender type 2, voice type 1, voice type 2, instead of male, female building characters, in games. And now even the modding community that makes mods and prolongs the life of these games. Look at Skyrim. Skyrim that came out 12 years ago is still going strong today because of the modding community. Well, now those modders are being banned and their mods being taken down if they change the pronoun menus and whatnot in the games. So I'm feeling like the woke movement is moving away from, now that the theaters and all these movies have been wrecked, these franchises, Star Wars, Star Trek, Marvels, all of this has been wrecked by wokeism. Now they're going into the video game industry and they're going to wreck that. And it's taken all of our focus away from the real issues in the world. Ukraine used to be, a lot of farmland and providing food to a lot of Africa. Now Africa is hungry, and, places like Congo, Nigeria, all these places are going into civil war because they got no food. And here in Canada, our energy crisis, because we want to protect the planet, even though the planet's still going to be here long after mankind is gone, we wanted to make a pipeline from coast to coast. Because Alberta's in the middle of the country, they got a lot of petroleum, and we can even export it through the ports at either the Atlantic or the Pacific Ocean. And we could have provided petroleum to Germany, except that the pipeline didn't go through the Atlantic because we wanted to protect the planet. How are we going to protect it if wars are breaking out because people don't have food and energy? We are even going after our farmers because they use fertilizer that is not good for the environment. Strangely enough, plants grow faster with fertilizer, and yet it's not good for the environment. So plants growing is not a good thing. I'll be right back. I have a cat that wants to come in. Okay, I'm only 16, so I don't have a massive knowledge on politics and such, but I still feel like governments need to get their priorities straight before we are all in doo-doo. Oh man, tell me the other cat wants to come in now. Okay. Yeah. I think that there's something else going on. I think that the government is playing us. I think they are distracting us with these things while there's a massive plan going on. Because it makes no sense, you know. You see a stop sign or a red light, you know you should bring your car to a stop. And yet the government's like, well, look over there while I go through the stop sign and go through the red light. And the passenger's like, well, it's a red light, it's a stop sign, we should stop. But the driver's like, no, look over there. That's important. And we are heading into a massive crash. And, like, how does the government not? Why is the government saying, look over there, don't look at what's coming? What is really going on? Are they doing this? I mean, either the government people, are really that stupid or there's something else. Not long ago, we have a little island, a province here in Canada that relies on tourism. And what happened this year is that we tripled the tax on fuel. Oh, you have to go to dinner, but I'll see you live another time. I'll make sure to drop in the chat. But have a great rest of the day. Well, you too then. Thank you for stopping by. And our minister, went to the island and said, yes, we believe in you. We believe in your tourism industry. But no, we're not going to remove the tax on fuel. So nobody went to the island because gas prices were too expensive. So an entire industry this year was destroyed. And this minister was like, well, I live in Toronto. I live 5 minutes from a subway. There are two subways in all of Canada. Canada, I don't know if you know, is a huge country. Only two cities have metros, and she lives 5 minutes away from a metro. Okay, well, first of all, a minister does not use the subway system to get to work. She has a private chauffeur, you know. And then she goes on to say, well, I bicycle and I walk, and it's all healthier for everybody, and it's a better solution. We just have to get away from cars and petroleum and use public transit and all that kind of stuff. 2 weeks later, she gets a speeding ticket. She rented a car, and yes, she was going at twice the speed limit, although the cop was lenient and brought the ticket down to something a little bit more reasonable, but still. So, yeah, hypocrisy. They're like saying one thing, promoting another thing, but themselves, they're doing something else. Just like another minister is, going on her TikTok and showing all the fancy restaurants and fancy foods that she's eating, and yet people can't afford the basic lettuce, tomatoes, and whatnot to feed their families. So there's a huge disconnect. There's something going on, and I am going to end the show here because I am getting very angry. So, everybody, I wanted to start casual this Monday, but a turn of events have, you know, directed this main discussion today. Let me know in the comments down below what you think. Maybe I'm completely sidetracked. Maybe, our priorities are where they need to be. Please explain it to me. And I will catch you in tomorrow's or another just chatting later on. Until then, be safe out there.